Your story begins in pitch darkness, crammed against a warm, humming milk machine you'll later call Mom. You can't see, can't hear, and can barely wiggle your fuzzy little paws. Worst of all, you have siblings who treat you like a living speed bump on their way to the buffet. Every time you try to scoot forward for a sip of precious milk, some beefy fluffball shoves you aside. You squeak, you squirm, you push back, but they bulldoze over you like tiny sumo wrestlers. And this, dear viewer, is how the daily struggle begins. In those first fragile weeks, your entire existence is a pattern. Sleep, mew, try to crawl, get squashed, repeat. Eventually, you learn to move in a somewhat forward direction, but you're about as coordinated as a drunk noodle in a windstorm. Then it happens, the moment of horror, the moment that defines your entire future. A giant hairless monkey swoops in, picks you up, and holds you to their face while screaming the most horrifying phrase known to cats. "Who's a little baby?" You try to let out a dignified meow. What comes out sounds more like a broken squeaky toy. They squeal in delight. In that moment, your soul crumples. You realize this world has zero respect for your dignity. Weeks crawl by. You shift from pathetic little blob to clumsy toddler on 4 legs. Your first attempt to stand feels glorious, until you trip over your own back legs, somersault across the blanket, and land in a puddle of shame. The humans, of course, record the entire meltdown on their shiny rectangle. They will show it to everyone they know. Your pain is their content. Then comes the ultimate betrayal, your kidnapping. They call it adoption, but let's tell the truth, it's forced relocation. They stuff you into a cardboard prison, ignoring your pitiful protest meows, and carry you away to a strange-smelling lair that stinks of stale coffee and stress. They declare this is your forever home, but you are unconvinced. There is a couch the size of a horse, weird boxy machines that scream while sucking dirt off the floor, and a human who insists on poking your soft belly like it's a therapy pillow. You attempt to explore. You see a cup on the counter, a suspiciously tempting target. You leap heroically, only to slip and crash down in a furry, undignified heap. The human, laughing. Betrayal number 2. They feed you weird, crunchy pebbles that taste like stale disappointment. They call them premium. They might as well call them the bland sadness nuggets. But if you think your humiliations end there, you haven't even faced your smallest, most unstoppable enemy yet. Stick around. Your forever home is basically a booby-trapped obstacle course. Every day brings new ways to fail. A shadow flickers across the floor. Predator mode engaged. You launch at warp speed, only to slam directly into a pile of shoes. You emerge tangled in laces, looking like a hostage from a fashion crime scene. The human, laughing again. Night brings even stranger challenges. Something stirs under the blanket. Could it be a snake? You pounce, shredding the sheets with assassin precision, only to discover your human's foot, warm, pink, twitching, and smelling like betrayal. You pause, eyes wide with horror, before slipping off the bed in slow motion like a broken pancake. Days pass, and you start to hone your skills. You move with stealth, gliding across the couch like a silent hunter. With this power, you discover your life's greatest mission, testing gravity. Why does everything else fail to land while you stick every landing like an Olympic gymnast? It must be studied. So you push the water glass, the plant, the remote, the TV controller, their cell phone, the TV dinner. Every crash is music to your ears. Science is never wrong. Then comes the ultimate nemesis, the red dot. It arrives without warning, a tiny blazing speck of torment, gliding across the carpet like a mocking demon. You freeze, eyes wide, tail twitching with ancient predator tension. There it is. You crouch low, muscles coiled, whiskers quivering, claws extended. You calculate the perfect strike, one flawless move, and gone. Vanished. You spin around, frantic. The red dot flickers back onto the wall, taunting you. You leap like a jungle cat, crashing into the couch as it flickers away again. There. It reappears on the rug, bright and bold. You launch forward in a blur of fur and fury, but it vanishes under your paws. Again and again and again. Your heart pounds. Your eyes water from the effort. This is war. A war you cannot win, yet you are compelled to fight every single time. Meanwhile, your human is laughing. They treat it like a silly game, flicking that cursed beam around like they control the universe. Monsters. They wield the red dot as a weapon, pushing you to the edge of sanity, making you question reality itself. How can something so real, so vivid, so perfect to catch, never be catchable? Is it a glitch in nature? Witchcraft? A cosmic prank? All you know is you'll never stop trying. Minutes blur into hours. Your paws ache. Your breathing is ragged. Fur sticks up in sweaty tufts. You leap, you slide, you crash into chairs, walls, tables, but the red dot always escapes. And then, worst of all, it's just gone. You search wildly, spinning circles, scanning every corner. Nothing. No glow, no trace. You look at your human, who calmly switches off the laser pointer and goes back to scrolling their phone. The ultimate betrayal. You collapse, exhausted, spirit bruised, replaying every failed hunt in your mind, and deep inside, you promise yourself, one day you will catch it. Because even if the red dot cannot be conquered today, you will never stop trying. 3 a.m. arrives. Your bowl is empty. You must correct this injustice. You jump onto the bed, parking yourself on the human's chest, meowing directly into their soul until they wake. They roll over, so you go to plan B, the 3 a.m. Zoomies of doom. You launch around the room at 90 miles per hour, knocking over a lamp, crashing into a mirror, and back onto the bed for a final scream. Eventually, they stagger to the kitchen, defeated. They pour you stale pebbles. You sniff, take a pity bite, and walk away dramatically. They have failed you. Next comes nap time, a crucial strategy. You select only the finest, most inconvenient nap locations, on top of freshly folded laundry, across the laptop keyboard, on the human's brand new shirt, directly across their head. Why? To remind them, you are the true landlord here. Bonus cat problems? Ever tried taking a bath? One moment you're in the middle of the greatest nap of your life, dreaming of hunting zebras on the open savanna, warm and content. And the next, you're being yanked from your bed, grabbed by the scruff, and dunked straight into a tub of watery doom. Your human calls it a bath. You call it an act of war. You hiss, you claw, you twist into a thrashing, howling hurricane of fur and rage. The water splashes everywhere, soap burns your eyes, and you manage to scream so loudly the neighbors probably consider calling for backup. Still, the human persists, trying to scrub your delicate royal fur with some suspiciously perfumed goop, as if you need their help to stay clean. You plot revenge with every second that passes. And when they finally let you go, dripping wet and humiliated, you launch from that tub like a rocket, spraying soapy water across the walls, vowing never to trust them again. They will regret this. Or the hairball drama. You innocently groom your luxurious coat, minding your own royal business. Suddenly, your stomach churns. You cough, you gag. You perform an entire Shakespearean death scene, then leave the soggy gift right in the middle of their pristine white carpet. The humans cry. You feel no guilt. After all, you warned them about feeding you the same stale kibble. You even proudly circle around your masterpiece, inspecting it like a modern art exhibit, before strolling away with your dignity fully intact. Don't forget the medicine. They wrap you in a towel like a feline burrito. They try to shove pills into your mouth. You try to spit them out, wiggle, bite, scratch, and leave them with battle scars. You will never surrender. Christmas. Oh, Christmas. They erect a tree covered in dangling, shiny prey. Of course, you climb it. Of course, you chew the wires. Of course, you knock it down. You do not apologize. Curtains? They deserve to be scaled, scratched, and destroyed. It is a law of the feline universe. If you end up tangled in them, acceptable risk. Then there is window politics. That bird on the other side of the glass is mocking you. You chirp, chatter, flick your tail, imagining 100 ways to destroy it. The bird does not care. The humans do not understand your rage. The vacuum, an unholy beast that devours dirt and your last shred of confidence. You flee to the top of the cat tree, ears flattened, eyes wide, praying you survive. The vet. 1 minute you're enjoying a nap in a glorious sunbeam, dreaming of bird conquest. The next, you're shoved into the box, rattled down the road to the smell of betrayal, where a stranger pokes you, prods you, and then stabs you with a needle, all while having the nerve to say, "You're a good kitty." Absolute treachery. They even weigh you like a sack of potatoes, insult your diet, and invade your most private spaces with cold metal instruments. You swear revenge with every yowl, vowing they will never catch you so easily next time. And sometimes, if the opportunity is right, you deliver a righteous swipe to their hand, just enough to remind them you are not to be messed with. That tiny scratch is your sweet, satisfying act of rebellion. The worst. Every day is a fresh trial. Stale food, late meals, loud guests, closed bathroom doors, random toddler visitors who pull your tail. You suffer, but you survive, because if there's one truth, it's that cats endure. But even a mighty predator can't outrun time itself. Stay with me. The worst is yet to come. The years roll on. You evolve from a tiny squeaky ball of mischief into a majestic house tiger, confident and cunning. Your humans bow to your every whim. You rule them with an iron paw, your kingdom firmly under your control. But time, as always, has no mercy. One day you leap from your favorite windowsill and miss. You land in a heap, confused legs tangled. You glare at the human, daring them to laugh. You try to hide a grin. You stand tall, pretending you meant to do that. But inside, you feel a chill. Is your power fading? The mighty 3 a.m. Zoomies become a 3 a.m. shuffle. The moth you once obliterated, now you let it go. Because honestly, who has the energy? Your naps stretch longer, deeper. You barely remember what day it is. Then comes the final insult, the senior diet. They take away your glorious wet food and replace it with bland pebbles that taste like defeat. They call it healthier. You call it a crime. Your jumps get sloppy. The human picks you up, cooing like you're a kitten again. You blink slowly. Fools. You were once a lion. You still are. One day you catch them crying. They fear losing you. But you look at them with wise, ancient eyes and know they never owned you. They belong to you since day one. In your last days, you find your favorite Sunbeam. You settle in, letting your kingdom drift around you. The couch torn to confetti, the blinds ruined, the windowsill yours forever, the humans still clueless. You nap, knowing you leave behind a legend. If you've ever lived with a cat, you understand. The pride, the chaos, the heartbreak, the endless laughter. Smash that like button if you've survived a cat dictator. Subscribe for more hilarious animal documentaries. And tell us in the comments, what ridiculous thing has your cat done? Because, yes, they rule our homes, but we wouldn't have it any other way. Except maybe at 3 a.m., then we'd trade you for a goldfish.